What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time on a Sunday morning or afternoon. I'm Britt Devine, joined by TJ, and fresh out of church, Mr. Will Priester, Chief Justice, looking good, better than Derek Hardy. As long as you're not hating on Nolan Arenado, Chief, I think today's going to be good.
Yeah, let's hope so, man. I'm going to be building my main team while we're actually on this show today. So I already had everything reserved, obviously, prior to going to worship, and I'm out now and didn't have time to change. So I basically came home, got straight on the computer, started researching, and then, we had a show. So I'm very excited. I was prepared. I got up early this morning and did pre-research prior to going to church. And then I did post-research after church. I'm prepared. Really cool slate. Time to get it cracking.
TJ, I just wish we got the memo from Chief, because I could have thrown something on, right? I could have ditched the hat. I could have done the hair, right? Like we could have dressed up a little today.
I think I got you beat a little bit. This shirt's got some buttons on it.
I got a RotoGrinders. I just wear RotoGrinders stuff 24/7.
The hair looks okay. I could show up to church in this and be all right. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Chief's got us absolutely smoked right now. So get the likes up for some Spidey bombs, and because Chief looks so good, we got our first one at 50 likes, and peace be with you.
Yeah, looks like we'll get to that in just a second. So I guess me and TJ, normally Cards is here. TJ's going to sub in. We'll talk some cash tournaments, and then we're going to let Chief handle more of the actual tournament talk a little bit here. Let's get it going because we only got about a half hour. TJ, there's a lot of games. Pitcher at the top. It's pretty interesting today. To me, there's three guys viable for your cash game construction and to basically be your lead horse in all formats. It's Garrett Cole. It's Eduardo Rodriguez. And I'm going to throw, with the wind blowing in there, I know the bat's really on Drew Smyly. He's been playing, pitching pretty good. Those are sort of the three guys I'm eyeing. Some mixture of those three. If you need a cheap pitcher on Fanduel, Smiley's probably my guy today. I like Eduardo Rodriguez too. I think his matchup's pretty good against the White Sox. How are you handling this up with Cole, the big name, but the high price tag, not the greatest matchup, and some lower price guys who might even outdo him today?
So Eduardo Rodriguez, from a cash standpoint on FanDuel, would be my main guy today. I wouldn't go this far on FanDuel where the price differences aren't as extreme. But in my 150 lineups on DraftKings today, and then in my one single entry one as well, I'm fading Garrett Cole. I got 0%. I'm just going with the cheaper pitchers today because I think they have similar upside with a few guys with some easier matchups than Cole has. So that's kind of what I'm doing in tournaments today. But I think in cash, if you land on a bunch of cheap bats and you can get up to them, absolutely Cole on FanDuel is fine. But I think it's I would rather go Eduardo Rodriguez on a one pitcher site than on two pitcher sites. I think I would rather go double mid range as well.
Chief, where do you stand on pitching today up towards the top, right? We've got Cole, who's clearly the highest priced, the best name. The Padres can be hit or miss. When you're taking a pitcher against them, how are you handling him? And then what else looks good to you?
So for tournaments, I'm just going to kind of give you my handful of guys that I really like, and I'll just kind of discuss. But I like Darvish. I like Berrios. I like Erod. I like Alex Cobb. Those are kind of my tournament guys. If Smiley's going to end up being high owned, I'm just not going to play him at all. So that's kind of where I'm landing. So once again, kind of my guys, Cobb, Erod, Berrios, Darvish. That's kind of my handful of guys. And so Berrios is really more of a strikeout play. Like Minnesota, man, they've been striking out a ton. Now the problem is they've got a lot of power in this lineup, and so they could absolutely bury Berrios at some point. But in terms of just where they are overall, Berrios is one of my favorite tournament plays. I mean, he's got strikeouts galore. If he can keep the ball in the park, not walk too many guys, which he's done really well with walks this season, 5.7%. I think Berrios could end up 40-plus fantasy points here as long as the ball stays inside the ballpark. Once again, a lot of power in this lineup, but also a lot of strikeouts. And Berrios definitely one of my favorites. Cobb is kind of more of a Milwaukee hasn't been great all season. They've got strikeouts as well, and Cobb's the guy that's been keeping the ball on the ground. So it's 61.9%. ground ball rate, not striking out lefties nearly as much as righties. He will see a couple lefties, but I still think he's in play here, a guy that could go deep if that materializes. So he's a guy I'll be playing him more for him possibly going deep. I don't think he picks up 10 strikeouts in this matchup, but I think 5, and maybe he goes 7 innings. And if he can keep the ball on the ground, then he could be another really good play as well. In terms of Darvish, I mean, the Yankees have been striking out as well. Darvish feels like he's in no man's land to me. And he's another one where I think the strikeouts will be there. He just needs to not give up a ton of runs. And I think at the end of the day, he'll be looking good. So that's kind of my handful of guys that I really like in tournaments.
I'm with you on Barrios on our sponsor FanDuel. I think Grant was on him on Scores and Odds. Someone was on him. And I laddered him all the way up to 11 strikeouts on FanDuel today. So, Chief, I'm hoping Barrios has himself a nice game. I think there is some upside, like you mentioned, against that Minnesota lineup. Don't know if I trust that from cash, but definitely on board the Barrios train from a tournament perspective. TJ, I want to throw it back to you first. We're at 58 likes. That means Spidey Bomb number 1 is on the way. Producer Rob, let's hear it.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thief.
All right, let's do it. I want 90 likes for Spidey Bomb number 2. But Britt, I know you like some big odds, and I mentioned I'm fading Garrett Cole today. Although I'm not trying to stack against him like crazy, we do have one set of odds on one of these Padres players that's just flat out broken over on the Caesars Sportsbook. Xander Bogaerts is Spidey Bomb number 1 up against Garrett Cole for plus 1,000 to hit a home run.
I got it. It was plus 950. I bet this morning. And if it's gone up again, I might double down on it because those are just absolutely ridiculous odds against.
He's plus 560 on FanDuel and plus 1,000 on Caesars.
Yeah, I bet that. I thought that was a big standout this morning when I was searching through. So I already have that, and I would recommend everyone else to follow it now. It's a plus 900, plus 1,000. Don't bet your whole roll on it. But if you're looking for an odds play, that's a pretty nice one. So I'm on board with that one. Anything else pitching wise, TJ, or you want to move to offense overall?
Yeah, I love the Barrios call. I'm going to be overweight on him as well. Alex Cobb is somebody else that I really like for tournaments today. Rodriguez, Cobb, Smiley, and Barrios are going to be my 4 highest owned today. And then I'm also mixing in Cease, Gore, Montgomery, and even some of these cheap guys just in like the 5% range. Bradford, Ashcraft, and Bradish. I have 5% of each of them.
All right, TJ, I'm going to stay with you. Offense as a whole today. The Coors game is not on the main slate today, so it's sort of spread around, and there's enough good pitching where you're not really thrilled to, can you play Aaron Judge and Tatis? Certainly today, right? But they're, up against reasonably tough pitchers. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't know, there's not really a matchup where I'm like, I got to roster this guy. I got to play this guy today. It's maybe more of the mid-tier players, the mid-tier offenses I'm drawing from. How are you handling the overall offensive slate today?
Yeah, so I'm getting a lot of, my main builds today are 5-2-1 stacks. I'm getting 1 big stacks and then mixing in some one-offs and maybe a mini stack in there. Toronto is going to be my highest owned team today. Bailey Ober his results have been strong, but he's been getting really lucky. He's given up a 50% hard hit rate to righties, just a massive, massive fly ball pitcher. Those are both really, really bad news against the Toronto Blue Jays, who are mostly right-handed going up against Ober today. So Toronto's going to be my favorite stack. The next place I'm going is going to be that Baltimore and Texas game. Baltimore is my second highest owned stack. Texas is number 3. I really like both of those teams today. Going up against Baltimore, going up against the young lefty 4K pitcher. And then we got Texas going up against Bradish, who doesn't strike a lot of guys out. And so those are my 3 favorite offenses. And then St. Louis and San Fran are next on the list for me. San Fran would be higher if I was getting to more Garrett Cole and Yu Darvish. But because I'm not, I don't really need that salary savings like I would have needed otherwise. And so that's why they fall to 5th. And then the other 5 teams I'm still including in my MME builds are the Yankees, the Twins, the Royals, the Padres, and the Cubs. I do want to get more Cubs. That was a team that I was expecting to get a lot more of earlier in the day that I'm just not. That's something I'm going to look at adjusting right now as well.
All right, so there's some quick offense from TJ. We're 10 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 2. Get those likes up, and we'll get it from TJ in just a second. And then Chief, offense from you. What are we looking at in your spots? Do you agree with what TJ was saying with some of the offenses? You have anyone else you want to include in some stacks?
Yeah, I definitely like this Texas Orioles game. That's one that I like a ton. I like St. Louis against Gaddis. I think that they're in a really good spot as well, especially with St. Louis on FanDuel. They're really affordable. They don't have any bats over 4K, so I think they're a really good offense to target. I don't hate the Giants against Colin Ray, and I think that's a spot where it's not that I don't think Colin Ray will pick up a few strikeouts. It's really more about the power that this offense possesses, and I don't think Colin Ray is some elite pitcher. So when you look up and down the Giants right now, I mean, it's just they're power packed, man. They just strike out a ton. But like, yeah, it's 221 ISO. JD Davis 228, Conforto 222, Haniger 214, Sable 211, Villar 245. There's tons of power here, and because they strike out, I think they'll go under own. And it's kind of similar to my thinking about. I think there was a night earlier this week where I think it just went off for like 12, 13 runs, and nobody played them. But they strike out a ton, but the power is there. I like the Giants.
I want to note real quick, not that anybody was targeting Jesse Winker today, but he has been scratched out of the I think of the Brewers lineup today. So if you were on him, make sure to get him out of your lineups. All right, 4 likes away. TJ, we'll get to that in just a minute, hopefully. From position by position standpoint at catcher, it's basically a min-max for me, more so on DraftKings and FanDuel. And of course, you can play like a Sal Perez or a Rutschman, somebody like that today. So those are at the top. Or you go down to like a Kirk, a Riley Adams, who started to get hot for Washington. Even though these guys are down towards the bottom of the lineup, it allows you to maybe spend up for 2 reasonable pitchers, lets you get a couple of bats in there that you might want to spend up on today. So what's your preference today, spending or saving at catcher?
If I can get up to Sal Perez, that is my primary preference. And then if I need a punt, my favorite place to go is the aforementioned Riley Adams. Those are my 2 favorite catchers today. I do really like Adley Rutschman as well. Jonah Heim, Blake Sabol, Alejandro Kirk, and Kyle Higashioka. I'm good with all of them as well, but Perez and Adams are definitely my top 2.
And then real quick, TJ, we've got Spidey Bomb number 2. We hit 80 likes. So let's get that out of the way. What are we looking at for Spidey Bomb number 2 today?
Let's do it. Get us up over 100, and I got a third one for you. But Spidey Bomb number 2, probably my favorite DFS play on the slate, and you can find him for plus 450 over on FanDuel. It is Ryan Mountcastle, Spidey Bomb number 2.
All right. Speaking of FanDuel, well, I get that one in on the home run call. If you are in a sports betting state and you have access to the FanDuel Sportsbook and you're a new customer, you can get a no sweat first bet up to $1,000. Check the terms and conditions on that. But thank you to our sponsor, FanDuel, for offering that to all new customers. Always important to take advantage of those new sign-up offers when you are a sports bettor, especially when you have multiple sports books to choose from. It helps out the bankroll very, very quickly. All right, I got the plus 450 in on Ryan Mountcastle. I need Spidey Bomb number 3. Get to 100. TJ is going to give that to us. Chief, catcher, tournaments. I don't know. The pool's pretty thin. It's the couple of top guys, a couple of those guys in the middle for me. The rest, you're probably just playing guys in your stack.
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly just playing guys in my stack. Even Rutschman today, like I like Rutschman, but he's not my favorite bat. And TJ did cover my favorite bat, which is Mountcastle. Whenever we get him against a lefty, he's been really good. I do want to talk about Texas because I don't think we've talked about them a ton. I think Heim is a guy that should be okay for us. In this particular spot. So I guess if I had a guy that was maybe slightly off the beaten path, it's probably Heim.
All right, going to first base, TJ. You can spend up if I think I know I like some of these Giants lefties today. You've got Lamont Wade on both sites is reasonably priced, leading off probably at least 3, if not 4 at bats. Possibly more if he stays in for the full game today. He's one of my favorites. Do you like him, or are you worth thinking of maybe spending up on your boy Vlad?
So Mountcastle is going to be my favorite option for tournaments, and then I agree the cash options are Wade or Vlad, and it kind of depends on the rest of your build. If you like your build a lot better with Wade, I'm fine with going Wade, but otherwise I would be prioritizing Vlad today. That is the biggest decision point in my main single entry lineup. Is it, do I go Mountcastle or do I go Vlad? And that's the kind of thing that I'm struggling with. I'm currently leaning towards Mountcastle. I have a 5-man Baltimore stack that I really like. I think it looks really good. So that's where I'm leaning right now, but it is a tough decision point.
And then Chief, there's just, I mean, looking down this list, there's tons of guys that can have big games today. Rizzo, Vinny Peeve, and Lefty, Gallo up towards the top. Telez, if you're looking for another home run bet, I don't know if it's a Spidey bomb, but I think he was around plus 600. I know it's against Cobb, but he hits enough fly balls to counteract Cobb's ground balls. I think he's pretty interesting. A lot of guys today to choose from.
Yeah, for sure. We talked about Mountcastle. He's definitely a guy that was on my list. I don't want to overlook Goldschmidt. St. Louis is another team that I like a ton. I think, Nate Lowe in Texas, 3,200 on FanDuel. I think he's a great option, especially if you're putting them in your stacks. I think Pasquantino is going to be okay, even lefty. I'm not a huge believer in Mackenzie Gore. I know he's got some stuff. Sal Perez is playing catcher, but that's kind of where I am. Like, I feel like there's a ton of options, and kind of you're building some stacks and it's kind of like how I played a little bit last week when I didn't have a day where I felt like completely stacking. I ran a full team of like 2-mans and 1-offs, and it worked out just fine. And so I think we've got an option to kind of pull some of those today, where we kind of take these guys that have really good numbers against this pitcher or that pitcher or lefty righty and plug it in. That's what I'd be doing kind of at first base, like really hunting for those fantasy points.
Okay, 5 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 3. TJ, let's go to second base. Hopefully these people click the like button. I don't know. What are you doing here today? A couple ways. You can spend up on a Taurus. Semion's probably a little bit too expensive, especially if you're spending up at the pitcher position today, or you want maybe an Aaron Judge or a Tatis. It's hard to get to Semien. I like the Texas lefties for sure. I'm on board with what Chief was saying with Lowe. We'll talk about Seager in a little bit. Where are we going at the second base? Because there's not really a super strong play. It's turning into basically a punt position for me mostly today.
So I'm just basically stacking at this position and getting a bunch of different guys. Ramon Urias, who did start yesterday, Britt, who was in the lineup. Marcus Semien, Gleyber Torres, Whit Merrifield, David Villar, Edouard Julien, Kevin Biggio. But the main guy for me that I'm targeting as a one-off, and really I think the only player at the second base position I will be using as a one-off today, is Nolan Gorman, and I have twice as much of him as any other player.
All right. And then, Chief, from a tournament perspective, what are you looking at the second base spot?
Well, I've got Gorman in my main build already. You can also get Donovan there as well on FanDuel. Mm-hmm. If you're you can, and FanDuel, you can play them both if you use one in the utility.
Donovan plus 1,000 on FanDuel to hit a home run.
That's what I was going to say. Like, Donovan is I think he's a cheaper option. I think he's $1,100 cheaper than Gorman if you need that salary relief in a similar spot against Gaddis, who, folks, just struggling with lefties so far in the season. So I like him a ton. He talked about Urias. In Urias, you can play at second or third. I do like Nick Senzel today as well, and you can play him at outfield second or third. He's 3K. He's got pretty good numbers against lefties this season, and those are some of my main guys that I really like.
All right, let's see. Spidey Bomb number 3. We're at 101. TJ, what are we looking at?
John Polson in chat right now asking who the other Spidey Bombs were. So the first one, this is a specifically Caesars Sportsbook bet, but Xander Bogaerts is plus 1,000. Ryan Mountcastle, my favorite DFS play on the slate, and plus 430 on FanDuel. Spidey Bomb number 2. And number 3, Rob.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thief.
All right, Spidey Bomb number 3 today. You can find him for plus 600 over on Caesars, plus 520 over on FanDuel. Toronto Blue Jays, my favorite stack on the slate. Spidey Bomb number 2, Bo Bichette.
Yeah, I thought Bichette was a little low too when I was looking at this morning. We're on the same page today because I was betting all these at 6 or 7 in the morning when I was up doing my preliminary research. So glad to see we're on the same page today, TJ. All right, third base, Chief. What are we looking at? Let's try to wrap up the positions a little quick. We're about 15 minutes out. We want to be able to take some questions. So what are we looking at third base today, Chief?
Chapman, Jung, Arenado, Steer looks really good today. Batting third. Once again, I said you can get Senzel there, and you can get Urias there as well.
And then TJ I'm looking at JD Davis. I like these San Francisco bats today. They get a nice park upgrade in Milwaukee. He's cheap. It sort of fits the build where if you take a couple of the Giants batters, they're all in that, $3K on Fanduel, 3,500-ish range on DraftKings. You're able to get a bunch of them in and a couple of the bigger bats as well.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't mind that call whatsoever. JD Davis would probably be the guy that I'd be going to from a cash game standpoint. For tournaments, I really like Nolan Arenado, but Matt Chapman is going to be my favorite guy here. I got 20% Chapman. He's in my single entry team. I don't mind Henderson, Urias, David VR, LeMahieu, and even a little bit of Matt Carpenter in tournaments who you can now play at third on FanDuel or on DraftKings. But Chapman and Arenado are going to be my favorites for tournaments, and then Davis for cash.
All right, I'm going to stick with you, TJ, at shortstop from the cash game perspective, and let's try to break this down. You've got your boy Bichette, you've got Bobby Witt Jr. I love Corey Seager. How I've done is Witt's significantly cheaper on FanDuel, so he's my guy over there. On DraftKings, I'm playing Seager. I think he's $100, either less or more. I'm on Seager there. Basically, split those two. Bichette went to the side for me. How do you think I did there, or would you try to force in Bichette over either one of those?
So, Bichette is my favorite on the slate. I got 30% of him today, but then Seager is a very close second at over 20% as well. The two of them are occupying over half of my lineups today on DraftKings. Witt and Swanson are my next favorites, but outside of them, I don't love anybody that much. Like Bogarts is a lot more of a betting play for me than he is a DFS play. That plus 1,000 is just too good to pass up. I got a few Bogarts teams in a couple Padres stacks, but the guys like Crawford, Correa, Volpe, DeJong, Mateo, I think they're fine, but it's really all about Bichette and Seager for me with just a bit of Witt and Swanson.
All right. And then Chief from the shortstop position, anything else you're looking at?
Nope, we can move on. Those are the main guys.
All right, outfield, Chief. We'll keep it rolling with you here. Tournament perspective, who are some of your guys? Mine, again, I'm on name a Dodgers outfielder. They're probably someone I'm giving consideration to. Haniger, Yastrzemski, Conforto. A couple of Blue Jay Springers a little too cheap, I think, on both sites. You've got Judge, you've got Tatis. That's probably my player pool. Who do you prefer? If you got to pick Judge or Tatis today towards the top, who are you playing?
Believe it or not, I'm probably taking Tatis. Garrett Cole's been struggling somewhat this season. Yu Darvish, he is who he is. Garrett Cole, his K rate's definitely down so far this year. I'd be willing to roll a Tatis to hit a bomb today. Playing plenty of the St. Louis outfielders, plenty of the Orioles outfielders. The San Francisco outfield. I know I keep talking about it. Yes, Conforto, Haniger, Sabo. You can get him in the outfield as well. I'm playing plenty of those guys. Blue Jays playing plenty of those guys, and then I'm playing Cincinnati as kind of one-offs. So, and I've already talked about Senzel, but he's kind of one of these outfield guys. Fairchild, all these guys, just one-offs. I'm not stacking Cincinnati too much. But I do like one-offs, and same thing for the Cubs. I know the wind's blowing in, but Ashcraft is a guy that's been giving up tons of hits recently. I mean, just tons. And so, I don't mind playing, Suzuki, Morel's, expensive, but if you want to play him, you can. But that's kind of how I'm approaching the outfield today. Only 8 games, so I think you can get really condensed, and it'll really pay off today.
And then TJ, what are you looking at today?
So the Baltimore players are where I'm getting to the most. Anthony Santander and Austin Hayes are my 2 highest owned outfielders. This is where I'm getting a lot of my one-offs today. And so, I think I only have 4 or 5 Padres stacks and 150 lineups, but I still have 15% Tatis today. I got 20% Aaron Judge. I would give the slight edge to him personally, Judge over Tatis if I'm choosing one of them. I really like Lane Thomas as a one-off. I didn't feel like leaving a bunch of salary on the table today, and so I didn't get a ton of Washington full stacks, but I got a lot of Washington mini stacks. Just things like a Lane Thomas, Meneses, and one other guy. I've been doing that a lot, and so I like Lane Thomas quite a bit as a one-off. Varsho, Conforto, Tatis, Yaz, Soto, Springer, and Mullins and Nootbaar are kind of the guys that round out the list of my favorites. And then Joey Gallo, Garcia, and Christopher Morel are getting in there as well. So a pretty wide pool today at outfield, but I'm mostly looking to spend up with guys that I think could hit a home run.
Okay, I'm going to get to some questions here. We got about 10 minutes. I'm going to start in Discord for our premium members. Let's see here. Yup, that's me. What are Brit Batman bets? Are we just going to keep adding B words to as we string along? Brit's bets was fine with me, but I don't know. I don't need Batman bets. I don't need anything else after that. Maybe I need to come up with the Spidey bombs. I mean, it's just too good, and I don't know if we have time for too much more than that. But the bets I'm on, I did just bet the Yankees money line. I like them. I've decided to go with them as a money line bet today. And then the other one I mentioned towards the top of the show was Barrios. Chief liked him as a tournament play. Some books have him at 5.5. Some of them have him at 6.5. Go take both of those. And then on FanDuel, ladder them all the way up. They let me go to 11. I went all the way to 11. So obviously you scale down your bet size as you move up the ladder. At least that's what I do. So that was, one of my stronger bets of the day to go along with Barrios from a tournament perspective. A couple more questions from Discord. Let's see here. Jay Sams wants to know, FanDuel single entry, Gunnar or Mateo to finish off the Orioles stack that you like today, TJ?
I would go Gunnar.
All right. NBA DFS wants to know, FanDuel cash, it's his last spot. TJ, I'll stick with you on this one. George Springer or Sal Perez?
That's very tough. I think I'd go Perez, actually.
Yeah, that's a very close one. Perez is 100 more, I think. Isn't he 3,200 on FanDuel? I believe so. I'm staring at George Springer on my cash team. So if they're the same price, that's my personal lean. Yeah, so I didn't have the $100. But if you have that, I think the 3,200 for Sal Perez is what I would personally do as well. Minnesota against Barrios today. Anyone on them? I'm on the Barrios strikeouts. TJ, from a tournament perspective, what's your exposure to Minnesota like?
Yeah, I definitely have more Barrios than I do Minnesota. Minnesota is my lowest owned stack of the teams in my pool, but they are one of the teams in my pool still. This is a pretty big slate. I got it narrowed down to 10 stacks and 150 lineups, and Minnesota is one of them. I do like them a little bit more as a mini stack or getting some one-offs like Gallo and Buxton more than a full stack.
Chief, what's your take on Minnesota? I know we're both on Barrios in different ways. Are you there, Chief? It looks like you're frozen.
We lost Chief. No more.
We lost Chief. All right, so it's just to me. I want to go. It looks like this Dodgers-Rays game is being played.
Soto just got scratched. So when does that game start?
There we go. That's at 1:35. So that's right at the start. So there goes that. So there's the Yankees money line. I got that in.
And get Garrett Cole into my pool because that's a pretty huge deal. And we'll see if I get it in time. And so if not, in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick player replace and get Soto out of all the lineups I have him in. But hopefully I can get one more build here in the next 5 minutes. And
Bogarts,
get some
Bogarts, Carpenter moved up. Who got put in there? Azakar got moved into the lineup today. But it's Tatis, Cronenworth, Bogarts, Carpenter, Odor. The lineup's pretty weak today. So, Cole, I'd probably give him a slight bump now. Soto's has been striking out some, but he's obviously one of the better hitters in the lineup. And that Yankees money line bet I got in, 10 minutes ago, looking a little better. Let's see here. Jay Sams wants to know, TJ, if we're on Texas, can you play Young and Garcia, even though their projections aren't too good today? I definitely like Texas. Texas is one of the best teams in baseball, if you ask me. I have no problem playing anyone in their lineup at any given point in time.
No, I agree with you. That's 100% okay.
New generation FanDuel single entry. Rodriguez and Meneses? Is that Menzies or Smiley and Bichette?
I'd go Smiley and Bichette.
Yeah, I would play Smiley and Bichette too.
And
Chiefs trying
now
to get in
let's
his
quite a bit
Chiefs,
of Christopher Morel.
Chiefs internet drop, so we'll see if he can get back in here. FanDuel tournament pitcher. Beaner's looking for some good FanDuel tournament pitchers. TJ, what are we doing? I think Cole, Erod, and oh my goodness, Smiley are the three I'm on. I know Chief was on Barrios. I can certainly get behind that as well. Anyone else you want to give interest to?
I do like Cole a lot more now than I did before, so that's somebody that I'd be heavier on. Having said that, I think Erod would still probably be my favorite.
All right, Discord's popping off, so sorry to YouTube. We're getting all the Discord questions today. BJ Tom wants to know DraftKings cash, McKinstry and Prado, or JD Davis and Melendez. I think I'd go. I love JD Davis, and I sort of like Melendez a little bit today too. I think I'd go number 2.
Yeah, Davis Melendez for sure.
Beaner wants to know Mountcastle or Sal Perez if you got to have a choice today.
Mountcastle.
I think that's pretty close, but I guess I'm going to lean Mountcastle. I have a home run bet because of you on Mountcastle and not on Sal Perez. So I guess we'll lean into Mountcastle on that one. All right, so that's Discord for now. If you have any other questions, premium members, please get them into Discord. I'll get to them in just a second. Real quick, switching over to YouTube. We're going to go reverse. Chad Davis wants to know 2 favorite pitchers, DraftKings cash. It's 2 of the 3 of Cole, Erod, and Smiley for me. You can choose any combination of those.
Yeah, it's probably Cole and Erod for me now that Soto just got scratched.
All right, welcome back to 2023, Chief. Not the dial-up internet. You have plugged into the good modem. I guess, Chief, any final thoughts you had while you were scrambling, or you're pretty set? We were just going through a bunch of questions.
Yeah, I'm pretty set. I ended up in my main team. I ended up not on Barrios just because I could spin down and get to Erod and then kind of come up, and that gave me the option to pick up Bobby Witt. So that I ended up doing that. I really wanted to play Barrios today, but I like the rest of my team more than having to play Barrios, if that makes sense. So ended up with Erod, Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt's going to be a one-off, so I'm feeling pretty good.
All right. Beaner wants to know 2,400 left for an outfield play, Chief. I'm going to pretend that's FanDuel. It sounds more like a FanDuel question. It's pretty dark looking at all the plays. You got to dig deep here. Which one? The bat is on Willie Castro against Barrios, but there's not really a lot to like from the 2,400 and below tier on FanDuel.
Yeah, you ask for like everybody seems to be 2,500 or more.
Yep. I would try to find something better. Move some salary around.
Well, you can play Stuart Fairchild against Smiley if that's your last resort.
Michael Radinsky on YouTube wants to know Prado or Melendez in a Royal stack. I'll get it from each of you. Chief, I'll let you go first.
Give me Prado.
And TJ?
I'd go Melendez on that one. And as of 11:34, I have gotten my new lineups in, where Cole went from not being in my player pool to my highest owned pitcher.
Juan Soto, who would have thought?
Because of how he's the most patient batter in the entire MLB. He's not going to strike out and he's going to walk, and so that makes a pretty big difference to me.
I want to know Kyle Tucker. It's not on this slate, but Kyle Tucker just got scratched too. If you were doing anything, playing any of the all-day stuff, he just got scratched. Sunday baseball, right? We've got a game played on the moon between the Dodgers and the Rays. That's 10-10, and now people are getting scratched left and right on Sunday. That's typically what happens. Got to be nimble if you're playing baseball DFS on a Sunday morning. Looks like we have lock. That's Texas, Baltimore, and the Padres-Yankees game. I'm just going to see if we have any other extra questions. Let's see. Beaner wants to know Gorman or India on FanDuel. That is definitely, I mean, India had a monster game yesterday, but the wind's blowing in Wrigley. I'm on Gorman for sure there.
Yeah, Gorman by a lot.
Chief?
Yep.
All
Gorman.
right. Let's see here. Eric wants to know Melendez or Yastrzemski on DK. That's his last spot. I'm on these Giants lefties for sure today.
Yeah, it's for me too.
Chief, three-peat?
Yep.
All right, we're going to run that. Yeah, LA Dodgers and Tampa Bay. That's what happens when they roll out really bad starting pitchers and then the bullpens. I think the Rays needlessly left. Yeah, Fleming doesn't need to be throwing six innings today unless they were just trying to save bullpen. They're just leaving him out there to eat up innings. I think they've basically given this game away when they were up by so much, not trying to do more of a bullpen game. But again, Sunday baseball, the teams do some strange things sometimes. All right, I think we've got Brits. Yeah, let's see. Yep, that's me. Brits Bets was cheesy yesterday, so he's just adding some more B's into it. Brits Bets is fine. I'll always have a couple. I bet, I don't know, 50 different things every single day, it seems like. But I'll always give you a couple more if I have some.
I mean, you could just say baseball, Brits baseball.
Yeah, yeah, but football. I'm already betting football, so I'm waiting to do some prop shows with Chief to talk some football as soon as they come up. Beaner wants to know. We didn't really talk about Dylan Cease. You've got a couple of minutes to get him in here, Chief. Real quick on Dylan Cease. What's your take on him today?
Not playing him.
And then TJ, you have any thoughts on Cease?
In my pool, but one of my lesser owned pitchers.
All right, so you're both hoping to avoid a good game from Cease today. I'd much rather think. Does it have to do with Erod being on the opposite, or you're just not on Cease as being able to get Detroit? The White Sox are just a horrible team overall.
Yeah, I'm just not on Cease, and Detroit's actually. They've been one of the lower strikeout teams against right-handed pitching over the past couple of weeks. It's crazy, but it's what's happening. So I'm not on them.
Let's see here. Someone wanted to know about Wallner hitting 7th for Minnesota against Berrios. I mean, this is like a absolute deep dive for a min-price bat today. Anyone, I mean, in a stack, sure, anything will play, but no one on.
Yeah, that's a stack only play. Like that, I'm not playing it solo.
Yeah, a couple good games. We'll see if that continues. But 7th against Berrios, I'd much rather play Berrios in a tournament, take the strikeout prop, than try Matt Wallner today. All right, I think that's gonna do it for most of the questions. Chief, we'll let you go get dressed down. What's a dress down for Chief? I'm in gym shorts, literally 24/7. And a t-shirt. That's my style. What's Chief wearing? When you get out of that, what's Chief putting on today?
Definitely a t-shirt and some shorts for sure.
All right. Sounds good to me. Good luck everyone out there today. Hopefully the Spidey bombs go yard. That's going to do it for Chief and for TJ. I'm Britt. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we out you.